This is QiQ, the question in question. Brought to you by TherapyBites Art Lab. Here to take a bite out of modern-day pseudo-psychological psycho-malarkey. Now entering the Art Lab studio, today's T-Ballers, a collection of fellow strugglers, confronting personal challenges, navigating precarious relationships, and tackling trauma. Humans like each of us, juggling difficult human emotions, each here with unique life experiences, lived stories, and questions we'll bite into that just might help you too. And now, entering the Art Lab studio for the 9,880th time is the host of TherapyBites QiQ, Doc Heath.
I almost forgot to take off that mute button. Thank you, T-Ballers, for joining us. And you might wonder how I can duplicate so perfectly that entry into the Art Lab studio every time. Well, I just say it takes a lot of practice. No, I didn't. I don't duplicate that every time. I'm not sure I could. I think I would trip and fall and do a somersault or something and break a leg, an arm, or a head. But thank you for joining us. As you know, yes, sometimes our timer's off, but we just put that up to kind of do something to keep you occupied until we start the show off at 7 o'clock. And I want to thank my team for getting this set up. And I think tonight we're actually streaming live, not only through YouTube, but also through Facebook. And if we have folks that watch this after, or if you're watching now, where you can win Psycoins prizes. And let us know how it worked. Let us know how it works on YouTube. Let us know how it worked on Facebook, if you like seeing it on Facebook. But we'll go ahead and get started with some of the questions here. And you know how the game is played, like a certain game show. I think it's called Jeopardy, right? Think of this as psychological Jeopardy. We try to educate on some psychological concepts by making it fun, by coming up with the answers, and you guys have to ask the questions. And we also have our T-Ballers, that stands for TherapyBites Art Labbers, and they submit questions. You guys can submit questions too. The number will come up in a moment, but all you have to do is send your question to 1-870-686-4196. That's 1-870-686-4196. You can also put it in the chat right here if you have a question, and we can use that for next time. And you can, at that number I just gave you, sign up for the newsletter to stay stay in touch and up to date. But let's go to the board and see what we have in store this evening. Ah, yes. The old couch crumbs questions. Creature feature. We have a whole zoo of creatures trying to educate about psychological concepts. Social media smackdown. Yes, I do get into debates, and I have some wonderful fans that just love to tell me how wrong I am on social media, but that's okay. It's not a problem. Nothing personal. Isn't it great? I don't know about you, but I like living in a country where we can share ideas, and it's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. I find that that's one of the things that sabotages relationships the most, is thinking that we have to agree on things. I had a guy the other day on a debate on, gosh, what was it, Reddit, I guess, asked me if I was triggered. Of course, I was asked what your definition is, asked if I was mad, and I made the point that I would recommend you guys think about, and that is, I would only be mad if I was telling myself that you're challenging me was a threat to me. I don't know you. I may like to know you. You might be a great neighbor, but the only way that we get mad as humans is when we're telling ourselves the other person what they're saying is a threat to us. Why would we think that that's a threat to us? Fresh from the Therapy Couch and Couch Crumbs. That's our newsletter. Actually, Couch Crumbs Quotes is just quotes. And Neuro. My background is neuropsychology. I have a PhD in that, in forensic psychology, and I just love it. I'm just hooked on it. And I know many of you guys are also. And our first question comes from Art Lab Couch Crumbs Quotes. Couch Crumbs Quotes. The answer is, I'll get it off the board. The answer is, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And I do love critique. Yes, thank you for the thumbs up there. I don't know how to move that on the screen. Oops, it won't let me move that on the screen. If you have a comment, you can put it in the chat there, and I'll be glad to pop it up on the screen. If you have a suggestion, put it on the screen too. And if you have especially the correct question here, this is for 600 Psycoins that you can accumulate. You can save them up, and you can use those in our store to get hats and mugs and t-shirts and hoodies and all kinds of cool things. And what is behavior? That is really close, but no dice yet. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And William asks, what is behavior? That's not actually it. The question is, drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll button. I need a drum roll button, don't I? Or some type of sound effect. What did Epictetus, 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 say about the importance of our reaction to events in life? And what he said was, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. And I think more specifically, he said, it is not things which disturb us, but our perception of things which disturb us. Things and others do not create emotions inside of us, but rather how we decide to think about those things. Because all behavior, all emotions are created through a thought process. And we have another response here. What is response? Yeah, responding is important, but responding is a thought-based behavior. Responding is another word for behavior, and that could be from, well, throwing the toaster oven. Please don't throw your toaster oven. I mean, gosh, you might need it to make, I don't know, toast. Don't you love toast? An eye blink. It might be a rude comment in return. Yeah, I can get kind of pointed when I'm debating with people, but people, I think, often wonder, they'll say, you're upset, and if I was upset, I'd be okay saying I'm upset. Sometimes my wife will say, are you angry? And I'll take stock and I'll say, yes, because what's wrong with being angry? I mean, will the anger police come and arrest me? And anger is never the problem. I'll say that again. Anger is never the problem. We get court papers that say do anger management with this or that person, and I try to always, point out, and I try to educate the court. We don't do anger management because, I mean, unless you, the court, have made anger illegal, why would we mess around with managing it? What really helping the person manage are their thought processes, which produce what they're in court for, which is a behavior. I mean, they weren't arrested for an emotion. Why are we going to manage the emotion? They're arrested for a behavior. And how do you manage behaviors? You manage behaviors through thought processes. We first engineer thoughts, and then our thoughts engineer our lives. So back to the emotions, feel what you feel. There's nothing about an emotion that is ever going to harm you. You'll never read on a death certificate, cause of death, anger, or cause of death, sadness or depression. And you might say, well, but lots of people, die from suicide because of depression. No, they don't, though. They die of suicide because of, using weapons to end their lives and chemicals to end their lives and other ways to end their lives. The thing that ended their life was not the emotion. And I think we as a profession need to do a better job of educating people about that. Let's go back to the board here. And the next topic is from the category of our creature feature zoo. And we have a whole lot of creatures there that we use to educate about different psychological things. And this is for 200 Psycoins. And the answer is, this cognitive distortion is also known as black or white thinking and either or thinking, and involves viewing things as either completely one way or completely the other with no middle ground. And we will be right back for that answer.
You are a fellow human struggling with difficult emotions, a fracturing relationship, parenting problem, mental health difficulty, have a psychotherapy from hell story to tell, or a challenging life experience question, and would like to share your story by stepping up to bat as a T-baller. Either register by texting QiQ to 1-870-686-4196 and join our Therapy Bites community, or send a postcard with your name, address, phone number, email address, and age to the address on the screen. Therapy Bites QiQ, P.O. Box 1391, Jonesboro, Arkansas 72403 1391.
And we're back, and we have I tried to grab the response, and it slipped right through the fingers of the cursor. What is concrete thinking? Once again, the answer is this cognitive distortion is also known as black or white thinking and either or thinking, and involves viewing things as either completely one way or with no middle ground. And since we don't have a correct question just yet, the question is, what is, look at this. This is great. This cognitive distortion could lead you to be stuck between I'm trying to think of something clever to say, neuroscience, a cognitive rock and your cortices. I don't know. I'll work on it. There's a reason I don't do stand-up for a living. What is the underthinking ant? What is the underthinking ant? And let's go back to the board for the next category, which is evidently going to be from SMS, Social Media Smackdown. Social Media Smackdown. Is that too loud? I can never tell. For 400 Psycoins, this is a behavior rooted in the belief that having memories of a traumatic event and the resulting difficult emotions are just bad for you. They're bad. They're bad. You got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. They're bad. They'll kill you. They'll make you write bad checks. I think that was from Casey Kasem in the 80s. I've been around a while. Anybody know who Casey Kasem is? Put that in the chat while we're coming up with this. Anybody knows who Casey Kasem is? Don't look it up. Don't Google it. Don't cheat. Either you do or you don't. Casey Kasem. What do you do? Who was he? I love the Casey Kasem back in the 80s. This behavior is rooted in the belief that having memories of a traumatic event and the resulting difficult emotions are bad for us. And what is that? What is that? What could that be? I debate about that quite a bit. I'll give you a hint. Any of you guys that are in this Twitter debate with me, I haven't checked Twitter, and I'm not, I almost gave it away. I'm not trying to not get on Twitter. I just have had a lot of reports to do lately, and I don't know. I got to get them done. I don't know why people want them. People are impatient. Where's my report, they say? I don't know. I've been on Twitter. They don't buy that. They don't like that. They just want the freaking report done. And, oh, wow. Somebody got it right. The answer is, indeed, what is avoidance? I had the privilege of working with, gosh, I don't know, at this point, probably I think if I said 1,000, I'd be low over my career. 1,000 veterans, and they struggle with PTSD. Yeah, well, I guess here's another response. Yeah, I guess avoidance is a type of procrastination. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But I guess it is related. I had the privilege of working with veterans, and even veterans as far back as World War II. And they sacrificed their jobs, their career, even in the military. They sacrificed their relationship with their children, with their wives, with friends, through avoiding. And if you go to a clinician that tells you when you're having a difficult emotion, do this technique to get rid of the emotion, I'd really consider finding a new clinician. Or let me back up. You might need a new clinician, but first discuss it with them. Ask them how they would explain avoidance helping. It won't. I've personally never, unless you're avoiding, I don't know, cocaine or crocodile, that awful Russian drug. Avoiding it just never helps. It certainly doesn't heal or help you recover from PTSD. But yes, the question is, what is avoiding? Let's go back to the board before we run out of time here. And the category is fresh from the therapy couch, 600 Psycoins. The answer is, this is one of the most frequent cognitive distortions in relationships, and involves assuming that we know what others are thinking or feeling without any evidence to support it. And when I say thinking and feeling, but be aware, you guys know. You've listened to me long enough. Some of you guys, thoughts are not feelings. Feelings are not thoughts, okay? They're two very different things. And we'll be back with the follow-up to that right after this.
If you plan on being in the local area of your podcast player app and would like complimentary tickets to the TherapyBites QiQ Art Lab studio audience, please search TherapyBites on your device and just smash that subscribe button. Your complimentary ticket grants you access to alerts so you'll never miss a show.
Okay, we're back, and we have a response there. What is mind reading? And oh wow, what is mind reading? It's right on the card right here. A cognitive distortion that can lead to misinterpretation and misunderstandings, especially in interpersonal relationships. Just because you guess what another person is thinking doesn't mean you knew. Think about that. Just because you got it right, just because you guessed correctly, doesn't mean that you knew. It's best just to ask. It's best to have a conversation. And by the way, as I share with patients most every day, conversations are engineered. I'm a believer. You guys don't have to be. I am. You might say a believer in what? Well, and I'm not pointing at the ceiling fan, by the way. We're engineered by the Creator to be messy. Communication was engineered by the Creator to be messy. Now, why would that be? And the answer is, it was created to be messy so that we would work more at it. If communication were not messy, we would do less of it because we wouldn't have to do more of it. We would just, get it right. And, I could just make a facial expression and you would know that I want a taco, which I don't want a taco right now because I had a delicious jalapeno bread, turkey, and provolone cheese panini. My wife and I made that on our little panini grill. And go back to the categories here, and this is from the Couch Crumbs newsletter. The answer is for 200 Psycoins from Granny Freudnaut. Oh, the answer is Granny Freudnaut. I'm sorry. The answer is Granny Freudnaut. The question is, well, what is the question? And I'll just kind of chatter away here. You know, my team said that I might want to stop chattering so much so people have time to think. But if I'm not chattering, what should I say? I guess that's the point, huh? Go get some duct tape, Dr. Heath, and don't say anything. Just wait. Breathe. We're having tacos. No, that is not that is not phrased in the form of a question. I guess you'd have to say, are we having tacos? That would be the correct one. And I love tacos. I love tacos, especially at our local great taco place, El Acapulco. But I really like their fajitas more. And I'm doing it, aren't I? I'm chattering. I'm jabbering. And the correct question is, who is the author of the recipes section in the Couch Crumbs newsletter? Man, y'all are just going on and on about food. Do we have a food addiction going on? You should avoid that. I guess that is one good thing to avoid. I said you shouldn't avoid, but maybe we should avoid addictions, except for, by the way, something to canoodle your noodle. All repetitive behavior at the very base of it, as far as how it works in the brain, is an addiction. Walking, addiction. Talking, addiction. I don't know, vacuuming, or my doing the dishes in the morning and at night. I put them up at night in the dishwasher, unload in the morning. I try to beat my wife to the unloading of the dishwasher. Don't let her know. I think I do a better job. Let's go back to the board for one final question. I'm searching for the button as we speak. And finally, this is from Psych Secrets. The neuro category. For 800 Psycoins. These are the brain's little messengers that communicate with each other through electric sparks and chemicals that say, hey, pass the message along. Hey, pass the message along.
Premier accommodations for our T-Ball contributors provided electronically by the luxurious Art Lab Studio, overlooking the steaming cesspool of pseudo-psychological social media psychomalarkey, and located in cyberspace on your favorite podcast hosting platform, where we invite you to the most psychomalogically thrilling podcast in town, while you feast on our award-winning Psychologically-Nutritious buffet of TherapyBites cuisine, conscientiously cooked up by your hard-working T-Ball team chefs.
And we're back, and wow, aren't we getting complicated? Somebody knows the word dendrites. And hey, here's a question, and you can Google this after. What's in the brain? What's the difference between what dendrites do and what axons do? You know, what's the difference? Is there a difference? Okay. The question here is, or the answer is, these are the brain's little messengers that communicate with each other through electric sparks. And no, yes, it's not actual sparks, but we do have what's called potentials, and it builds up to a tipping point, and there's an action potential in the brain, and it kind of goes over the crest of the neurological wave there and results in, well, something happening. And there's many things that can happen in the brain, and it's the brain saying, hey, pass the message along. And by the way, this is not a question on there, but some people get mixed up, and they'll come to the office and they'll say, well, what's wrong with me is I have a chemical imbalance. That may be on a future QiQ, but this is a common myth in neuroscience and psychology, is that I have a chemical imbalance, and that was something that has been debunked a long time ago. If your doctor tells you have a chemical imbalance, ask him how he tested for it. Did he use a glucometer, a stethoscope, a sphygmomanometer? You know what that is? Blood pressure cuff. Did he use EEG? I mean, how does he know that? And he doesn't. There's no finger prick test for that. There's no blood test for that. He doesn't know. That is a myth in the field. Okay, somebody got this. The author is Granny Freud, not. And the answer was Granny Freud, not. But the question was, who's the author of the recipes in the Couch Crumbs newsletter? And The question here, what are neurons? These tiny but mighty cells that help our brain send signals to make things happen in our body. First in the brain, then in the body. Not in the brain, not in the body. And yes, I know that you, gosh, what's it called? Re-experiencing people out there, you think the somatic experiencing people out there, you think that the body tells the tale. Look, if you're paralyzed from the neck down, your body doesn't tell you anything. The signal's gone, and it certainly doesn't keep score. Not with a severed spinal cord right up about here. Your body's not counting up anything. I'm sorry. You're welcome to believe what you believe. That's okay. I think the research is pretty clear on that, although there is a lot of research out there on the side of the somatic experiencing folks. So there is research out there, but that's in the number of studies, by the way, if you want to look that up sometime, is somewhere in the hundreds of studies. And the studies on the CBT side are in the tens of thousands of studies. What's that mean? Well, maybe nothing, but we do have quite a bit of a head start, and the research is more complete. But neurons are the basic thought units in the brain that cause things to happen, and that is the question. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you have things you'd like for us to talk about it, put it in the chat. Again, you can sign up with our notices through just texting your email to 1-870-686-4196. That is 1-870-686-4196. Thanks for coming. Check us out 2 days from now, 7 p.m. Central, and we're out of here for the evening.
Next time on Therapy Bites Art Lab QiQ, Doc Keith and T-Ball Collars face off against steaming piles of pseudo-psychological psycho-malarkey directly from your favorite social media platforms, or perhaps from the psychotherapy couch of a pill-pushing, emotion-demonizing, bobble-headed, woo-woo clinician who fed their kooky Kool-Aid to you. This is Art Potto speaking. Therapy Bites QiQ is a Dr. I'm a Freudnot production. Distributed by the Therapy Bites Art Lab Podcast.